Hi, welcome to Flory Models Kit Review Time. Today we've got Trumpeter's 1/35 scale new tool. This is the T-90S Modernized, and doesn't this thing look an absolute beast? Love the lines of this tank. Very, very futuristic looking, very Skynet as I call it. Okay, so you can see very nice box art on the front. Quick run around the box, and that is really weird. Saw that and I was thinking, is that Mr. Putin himself that they've done? I hope they get that one right. Okay, anyway, your kit number for this one is 05549. Okay, and a little bit down on the other side, as you can see just there. So, down in the box, we actually have, let's get into it, tiny box, let's put the lid over there. Okay, so as you can see, we've actually got a pretty stuffed full box down here. So as always, we'll just start with the instructions, see if we can pick anything up interesting. So, just down in here, we've got the usual bump type things. So this is actually for it, which is quite nice. Gives us a little bit of a overview of what we can expect from the kit. And some of the stuff that's coming out soon. Flogger D, we've got that coming out soon. And obviously we've got other bits and pieces down there. Okay. Some about their tools and the various bits they do. Looks to be a new range, just to be seeing that one. Have a look at that later. So anyway, what we actually have down in here, we've got the instructions, usual way of Trumpeter doing it. So usual thing, we've got the parts call out just down here for the actual trees and all the bits and pieces, and we're into the kit. So as we'd expect, usual thing, so working on the lower hull and the running gear, so we've got the usual thing, drive shaft, idlers and road wheels going in there, all the various parts going in on the bottom as we'd expect. Okay, and generally doing the usual build up, road wheels going on, looks to be quite nice. We don't have actually any working suspension system on here. Looks like it's all glued in place. Okay, and then top half of the lower hull going in together, some of the actual stowage equipment going on quite early, a little bit of photo etch for bending over the lights and various lights, which is quite a nice touch. The armour, so we've got the armour down here on the front, which is very much blended in. It's not like an afterthought on these ones, so that's totally down in there, as we can see. Okay, rear grills, again photo etch for the rear grills, as we can see up there, which is another very nice touch. Okay, putting those down and in across the back, some more of the stowage items and the carriers for those rear fuel drums being fitted onto the rear there. Seems very straightforward. Track links, so it looks like we get a template, 83 required. It looks like the actual guide is a separate, which is going to be fantastic. And then putting them all in there. So it's actually going to be a glued piece. So it looks like down here, it's quite a nice way of doing it because it's showing here, but you're not really going to worry about the sag on this one because, let's face it, you're not going to see it. You've got big plates coming down the side, so that's not too much of a worry, but it's a nice guide of exactly what you're going to need to do. So you can actually see here, you're going to be along the bottom, you're going to be putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as another straight, and then you're going to put the curve in from there and working it right the way around. We will have a look just to see if they would be somewhat workable, but it looks like they are going to be guided and then glued into place, as you can see. Tops over the fenders on there, and then we've got the usual thing for the stowage bins on top of those. Okay, no problem with any of that. And down on the other side and working it through. Then we got those side skirts going onto it, as we'd expect. A little bit of photo etch here and there. Grill work and everything down on the back. You can put in those in. Some more little stowage items, various bits and pieces going on there. Very nice indeed. Then we got the tow cables being fitted onto those drums onto the rear. A little bit of photo etch again. Actually got quite a bit of photo etch in this for some of the joining plates that are going to go on there down like that. Okay, and then we've actually got some more parts going on here. Looks like copper wire. Again, very nice touch being fitted on there. Vinyl tubing from the actual fuel drums on the rear being fed to the main tanks along the side. So that's those all going in like that. Then we got to the covers being placed on those ones. So it's quite nice with the actual tubing work going on there. Then it's into the top turret. So again, starting off very square and then quickly going to be putting these plates on the side with the armour, which are going to give it that sort of chiselled look to it. Gun barrel is in 2 halves going in there, which is pretty standard. Usual thing with the actual screen launchers. for the smoke launchers on the side. The gun, so this is an automated or automatic remote cannon on the top, gun on the top, which is quite a nice touch. Again, more of those armor plates going down on the side. More of the stowage items, hatches, usual bits of things. Looks like we've got warning receivers on the sides. Various items, stowage bins as you can imagine, and then aerial communications equipment and all the other bits and pieces as you would expect on the turret. And then going in, and you do get him. And I love the way it's got call outs for the bits down there as well. So we'll have a look at that in there. Okay, so there we go. We've got the actual colour call out to this one. We love the Russian stuff. It does look nice. It always looks fantastic. And there it is. And colour call outs again for Mr. Putin as well. Okay, just on that one. Only the one colour call out. So in the kit, if we start with the lower hull. Okay. We'll start down here first. So usual things. We have got some solid wire. This is some brass, it looks like, or copper. Down in there in a little bag, which is fair enough. Polycaps as we'd expect, and then we've actually got the, I'll just switch mic. So down here we actually got some very nice details going on here. So not only are the hatches very nicely done and all the rest of it, but actually if you can see across here we've got some weld seams. Very hard to see across here, but some very nice detailed weld seams going across, all the usual bits and pieces you'd expect, but generally a very nicely detailed lower hull like that. Very nice. And the escape hatches, you can see tiniest little ports for the ejection moulding. Obviously got one here, but they are absolutely minute. But I do like the welding. Very nice detailed welding beads right the way over on this. And then obviously down on the inside you can see not much going on. The rear, not much in there at all. And the front, because obviously they're going to be built up later. But generally a very nice lower hull. Okay, then it's going to be into the sprues. Beautiful thing, as we know, with the Trumpeter kits is their packaging, and this again is exactly what we've come to expect. Very nicely protected. We get it down without breaking off the parts. As you can see down there, just like that, very nicely done, all the parts, very nicely laid out. The sprue gates look quite small as well. It looks like they are chiseled as well, so they do go to a point. So generally just having a quick run round, as you can see down there, very nice, quite sharp as well, some of the details in there. Tiny little bits of flash on everything, but nothing that a quick swipe round wouldn't take care of. Can't see any sort of mismolds or anything else like that. That all looks to be very, very nice down on all these parts. Quite plain, but you have got some nice details going on down in here. They do look very much the part. You catch them in the light like that. And then running down to here, down to this corner, as you can see. Again, beautifully done, very nice general type of thing. Very light, very thin types of plastic as well. Then we got the top half of the deck, but obviously with modern armour, because of all the way it's done, as you can imagine, this guy up here, there's not much to see. We have got the ring running around there, the hatches, various bits and pieces, but as a general, looking around it, as you can see, very nicely done. And then up here, quite nice, no problem at all. Little tiny bits of flash on pretty much everything, little bits and pieces, but nothing that isn't an easy clean up. It's a shame that these louver doors aren't clear all the way through, but you know, from that point of view, but generally not too bad at all. Nice, clean. The one thing I'm noticing, it does seem to be with this kit, sprue gates and the tree themselves all look very lighter, thinner plastic. You know, there's not as much heavy duty plastic down in here and all the rest of it, but some nice work, some nice detail. So down here we got the side sort of skirts and the fenders over the track links themselves, and the side skirt's got a little bit of texture down onto these, if you can actually see it down in here. But this guy at the top as well, very nice, sharp little details running over there. But there is a little bit of texture running around these, which is absolutely fine, no problem at all. And again on this one, got a little access down here, the hatches, the various parts, the skid, or the top over there, which can have the stowage bins right under there. Again, a little bit of flash, just not clean as you might expect down on these areas, but very nicely done. It's not as sharp as perhaps Meng stuff we've been looking at recently and all the rest of it, but it's definitely on a par. Okay, so same type of things on the other side. Okay, so that's quite interesting. We've got two Do we? Yeah, we do. We have two different sides on here, so obviously we were assuming we got a different kit over there. With some of these smaller items, you can see tiny little bits of flash around there, but the actual gates are very small on all the little components, no problem at all with all of these running around them, as you can see. So it looks like it's their standard T90 kit, and they've got a few upgrade parts down in here. But again, some nice details. The strapping over here, you catch it in the light, it's quite nicely detailed and all of that in there. And on the blind side, ejector pins everywhere, but you're not going to see these. That's space at the end of the day, you know, running in and out of everywhere. These are a little bit, you know, clunky. Not as refined, perhaps, as other manufacturers are doing. Okay, what have we got down here? So, down on here we've actually got the stowage for the sides, no problem at all, and then we've got the fuel tanks running down on the other side as well. That's fair enough. And then looking around generally at the smaller parts down the middle, as you can see, no problem. So this is the gear, very fine, very lightly done and everything else like that. And as you say, down in here, a little bit of flash running through the parts and everything else, but generally quite a nice cleanup. It's just not as clean and crisp and as sharp as perhaps you'd find on a men kit, for instance, but generally not too bad at all. And on the blind side with them, again, no real problems with any of the parts. They seem to be all very nicely done. Okay, so as I say, this is obviously the T90 lower chassis and the various bits and pieces, so some of this doesn't actually count. Like this bit down here, I don't think that actually counts for what we're doing. But generally, no problem at all with all of these parts. Again, I can't actually fault it anyway. It's just that, if I'm honest, the detail doesn't seem as crisp and as sharp as perhaps you'd find instead of like on a men kit that we've been looking at recently doing recent reviews. It is somewhat of a little step back. We've got a little bit of damage down on this one as well, on this little tooth here, my finger over here, which is a little bit of a shame. But generally, no problem at all. You know, so a bit like this riveting just sort of fades off to not a lot in general, unfortunately. But again, all things that could be corrected. You could detail up, put a little bit more in, but from a parts count, we've got a lot of plastic down in here. The barrel, all important barrel, looks to be quite nice. The cleats and the various clamps all over it all look to be nicely sort of done with those, no problem at all. And if we can sort of work up from top to bottom, might be a little bit easier, but generally no problem at all. The hatch workings and everything else all seem to be nice. Again, a little bit of flash, but that's getting a bit old now. Okay, as you can see, running right the way through, no problems at all. Any of these parts, they all look very nice here on H. That's no problem at all. And again, on the other side, we've got little bits of raised, like down in here. We've got a little bit of flash that's coming off the ejector pins you're going to have to take care of before mounting them up. And generally that's true of most places on this. The parts have all got ejector pins on the back of them, but none of them are protruding too bad. You just want to make sure they're clean so they're not going to interfere with any of your fit. And just generally, like the parts down here, they're very nice, they're all there. It's just that they don't have that sort of crispness and everything else that you might find on other kits. Okay, so what have we got down in here? This one's very well protected, and I must admit it is total kudos to, kudos I should say, to Trumpeter, because, and Hobby Boss as well, that they're very good at protecting their smaller, more delicate parts, such as things like this is a classic example. So down in here we've got the grills and the various parts, as you can see, quite heavily moulded down onto here. I haven't seen this particular technique of doing it before. It's probably quite easy to cut this off and get down there, and I'm assuming you could easily just chomp down there with a knife and be no problem, but it seems to be okay. Nicely moulded though, tiny little bit of flash in there and little push marks on there to help get them off, but generally no problem with that at all. Got a little line running across here. I'm working down this one, some of the smaller parts, again tiny little bits of cleanup required, probably all of them, and everything else, but generally like down in here, the actual aerials and equipment, got pry bars down here, and the same on the other side, exactly type of things going down on there. A little bit of burn on the mould there, which is coming off. It's got a little bit of release agent on there as it goes through, right the way in there, but generally I have to say, no problems at all. It's all very nice, very clean, crisp, type moulding on all of these. Okay, right, road wheels. Big chunky road wheels with protected. So what we'll do is we'll just slip, if I can, I think they've done these together. Oh, right, okay. One way of protecting your parts, they put the sprue together. So let's just get into one. Okay, I think you might have been, well, that's one way of doing it, okay. Right, so, road wheels, as you can see, again, this is what we're talking about. It's got it all there, it's just not as sharp and crisp. It's quite softly moulded, the details down into these wheels. I'd like to see more of a definition, especially with the bolts. They are just domes, there's no sort of hex to them or anything else like that. And again, with these sprockets, unfortunately, I have to say, it's not as sharp. There's no realism look. Like these just look like they're softly moulded, and it will look like moulded plastic on your kit. So that's a real negative on that one. Not very happy with the way that is. But generally all the other parts down here, no problem with them at all. These are very nicely done, these, and protected, as we saw as well. Just it's these wheels, I think, you know, and again, like this idler wheel up here, it just doesn't give me that impression of looking like metal. And it, you know, armour should give you that impression of heaviness and weightness. But again, even on the blind side, it's almost like an afterthought to the interior, which I know you're not going to see, but it would be nice to have some details roughly down in there as we work our way around it. So unfortunately that's a little bit of a negative down there. So we'll do tracks last. We just come down into here. So again, another matched pair. So we can pop that over there. So loads of little details going on this particular sprue, as you can see down in here. Loads of little works. Okay. So generally having a flick round, as you can see, you've got a lot of little bits and pieces going down on this particular one, as you can see. But this is a nice touch. Quite a complex little mould down there. Seems to be all very nicely done. Little return wheels on the top, the little rollers. They're, again, just not as sharp as you'd like to see. The barrel, though, that's a different matter, because this fuel can on the rear, very nice. The cleat and the clamping system look to be very nice down on there as well. And again, all of these little parts up here especially, beautifully done, very nicely moulded. This one's a lot better, this sprue, than we've seen on some of the others. So there's a little bit of difference between the different sprues and the various parts, as you can see, because this one's a lot sharper, down even to these little guys down here, beautifully moulded, very crisp, no problem at all. And even, you know, to be honest, this sprue, it seems a little bit different, because these little guys down in here, which I assume has something to do with the wheels, the bolting system is sharp, it's clean, it looks like bolts around there and everything else, but it was lacking on the wheels. So I don't know if the wheels are from an older kit. Right, so down in here we have the turret, and we've got the vinyl hoses, which, as we know, go off to do the fuel line, and we've got some brass cable down in there off the vinyls like that. And then we've actually got the top turret, as we can see. You know, it's quite nice as it is, considering this is going to be covered over, but it's got nice detail. You can see them. This is all weld beading, which it looks like weld beading running across it. Okay, and various in. There's not a lot to look at, obviously, in the inside. There is no date in there. Okay, generally it is what it is. It's not too bad at all. We got the gun, which I was hoping I won't bother getting these out, but these are the actual dust shrouds on the mantle for the gun. Two different types down in there, 1 and 2. I thought they might be in rubber or something, but they're not. It's in a softer plastic. It's not quite a very thin vinyl rubber, but it's a rubber effect. Obviously it's on a twisty sprue like that, so it's halfway there. Okay, and then we've got this. So this is all I won't bother getting these out because there's not a lot to look at, but these are the actual track guides. Okay, so you've got 4 sprues of those. You've got the tracks themselves, and I can tell by just looking at it, and I'm not going to bother getting them out because they're not that pretty. But generally, as you can see, we've got the guide, and then you're going to have to glue them all together because they are not a working track. It is literally just a stick it together job, as we can see it just down on there. Alright, so there's not too much content in there. So we have photo etch, as you can see. So we've got nice grilling work, all this bar and everything else like that. And then there is another, I think, piece. Is there another piece, or is it just the one? No, it is just the one. I thought there'd be more than that, to be honest. So there we go. We have the photo etch. We have Mr. Vladimir Putin. Or Putin. Well, even with a wonky tie, you know, I'm not even going to comment. But it's an odd thing to put in. I've never seen a kit manufacturer put a head of state into a kit before, ever. So it just seems totally random. Why would you do it? I don't understand that one. But there's no way I'm painting that before everyone says about going around doing figure painting. Right, we do get another one. So I did wonder where it all was. So we do have another little bit of photo etch down there. So we've got a full sheet down there, and we've got another one on the back. Okay, so you've got two. So you've got a load of photo etch for this particular one. Clear parts, as you can see. Some nice details down in there. No problem with those. They are what they are. So there we go. That is a beautiful looking tank. But I have to say, I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm now obviously drawn to Meng, or Ming, depending on how you pronounce it, in a way. I don't think they're perfect either, but obviously Trumpeter is a lot cheaper. So from that point of view, you've got a difference in price, a difference in budget, there is a small difference in quality. Now the quality is only in certain areas. I think that obviously Trumpeter, don't get me wrong, I still think they're one of the best manufacturers out there. Their quality, their range and everything else is absolutely perfect. But the wheels, I think, are a little bit of an afterthought. They look quite softly molded. I don't know if they're just redoing them from an earlier version of the T90 and they've just put them into this kit, but they seem to be very softly molded. There's no real detail down there. Again, you can't really see it because you've got a huge skirt system comes down it, but certainly the drive wheel at the back you're going to see, and the idler wheel thing at the front, you're going to see it. Okay, they're quite nasty. They don't have that sharpness, so you might want to go in there and sand them, just give them a bit more chunky look to them and chisel, because they're quite softly molded and everything else like that. The track system, again, it seems to be with the manufacturers, they either nail it completely, and let's face it, Meng has in the past and then seems to throw it away again, and then they come back and do a good one. Workable track, guys, it's not rocket science to put them that they're clickable in this day and age. I'm quite happy to click them all together and do them like that, but the bit where you're gluing them together and doing them as individuals, that's a real drawn about, a long way of doing it all. It's not so much of a problem on this type of armour because it's halfway covered. So if you want to, you could even cheat and not bother and just put the front end on and the rear and not even worry about the top. But the thing is, it's nice to have that working thing. It's the engineer side of me coming through. I like it to be a working part. It's nice that you can just drag it round and wheel it round and all the rest of it. It's nice also to have a working suspension, just so if you are doing dioramas, you can have it going over something, a little bit of definition on the suspension, that the actual track is moving up and down with it and everything else. When you're using solid plastic track, it's very hard to do that because you have to put it in early. So if you're doing it where it's all workable, you can just place it on your diorama, working track, and away you go. And let's face it, it's been around since the 90s, and everything else like that. But apart from that, all said, it's still a great looking kit. It's a great looking tank. Beautiful scope, loads of plastic in here and everything else, and somewhat quite a bit of a bargain. So if you are in for something a little bit different, great looking tank. Okay, look no further than Trumpeter's new 1/35 scale T-90S Modernized.